is Saleh. I'm the group captain of Group 4. My teammates are Abira, Nathaniel, and Ali. We'll be representing a presentation on mechanical hand. We'll be going over introduction, identifying problem and analyzing solution, defining criteria and making decisions, research and data, demonstrating prototype, implementation, post-implementation review, and finally conclusion. Introduction. The objective is to construct a mechanical hand which can mimic real human hands movement. The project goals are to enhance educational outcomes in mechanical design and problem solving by focusing on areas such as the anatomy of the hand. We will be demonstrating this mechanical hand at the end of the presentation. Our aim is to display the project's journey. The ultimate outcome is to deliver a functional hand and have a positive impact on real world challenges by contributing in mechanical and robotic design. Identifying problem and analyzing solution. The biggest problem in this project was having a fixed budget, which meant we could only use limited resources to construct a functional mechanical hand. There was objective complexity because we needed to imitate an actual human hand, which meant each single finger had to have a special cutout so the straws and strings could be attached and the fingers would be flexible enough to move and perform the tasks easily. There were some logistical challenges along the way because everyone was in an online environment. So we had difficulty in collective decision making, communication, and coordinated schedules. So we came up with different solutions such as utilizing digital collaboration tools to assign each team member with a clear role and responsibilities. So for the hand, we did prototyping and repeated testing to ensure it can perform all the.
Hello, my name is Abira, and this is the final presentation for our group. I will be doing the defining criteria and making decisions section, as well as the research and data section of our presentation. So in defining the criteria for our prototype, we looked at the three main things for the design, which was the quality of it, the durability of it, and the flexibility. This allowed us to make a prototype that would be long-lasting, efficient, and would complete all the tasks that it was required to complete. We used multiple engineering theories so that we could have a strong framework for the prototype. Some of the main ones that we used was lever theory, friction theory, which allowed us to create friction while holding objects and transporting them to another place, tension theory, so that the fingers on the mechanical hand would work the way that they're supposed to work and would mimic an actual hand, elastic theory, in which we use rubber bands at the back of the hands so that the fingers could go back to its original position, as well as ergonomics, which allowed us to make relations between the prototype as well and an actual human hand. So the materials that we used, while they were predetermined by our instructor, it definitely was a balance between cost and performance. We made sure to use good quality materials, whether that be the cardboard or the straws, the string, rubber bands, anything that we used would perform as well as they're supposed to. And in terms of cost, we tried to use upcycled materials to reduce any cost just in case, and also for us to be able to make multiple prototypes. So the construction of the final prototype was as normal. We used cardboard, straws, rubber bands. We also used hot glue on the fingertips for enhanced grip, and we made a handle so that it can be used properly and it would be more easy to control the prototype. However, we did make multiple prototypes. There was an initial design that didn't work out, and then there was a final design that we chose based on, as I mentioned before, quality, durability, and flexibility of it. So in the final design, we used somewhat thin cardboard layers. There were 2 layers. They were somewhat thin, but they did provide sturdiness and allowed us to stay flexible so that the mechanical hand could perform the tasks that it was supposed to perform. The straws were cut in specific sizes and placed on the inner side of the hand, and the string was passed through it so that it could work as tendons, and this allowed us to control the movement of the fingers. Rubber bands was used as counterbalances so that the fingers could return back to its original position, and then we used hot glue on the fingertips so that it would be easier to grip certain things that would be otherwise hard to grip, like golf balls or cups or small things like dice. The research and data that we performed for our prototypes, whether that would be the first design or the final design, really allowed us to help make a decision on which prototype we're going to use. As you can see here, the final prototype provided us with a higher success rate in the tasks that it performed. So in the initial prototype, allowed us to identify problems that we would have to make improvements to, and once those improvements were made, then the final prototype was decided, and it produced a higher success rate, which is also one of the reasons that it was chosen. So in the first prototype, it was only a single layer of cardboard. There were no rubber bands, and there weren't any hot glue on the fingertips for better grip. So the improvements that we made in the final prototype really improved the precision in which we held objects, improved grip, improved sturdiness, and reliance and accuracy. And the impact that it had was that it improved the overall functionality of the design.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathaniel, and this is my group's final presentation of the mechanical hand. I think by now we all should have done fully built on mechanical hand, are in a process of finalizing it, or having a fully functional hand. For this presentation, I'm gonna be the one that's doing the demonstrating of the mechanical hand and how we implement it. These are just the few bullet points that my group members selected for implementation. So let's get to it. For the first bullet point is the design and selection, which basically means like the final design of the hand, making sure it is designed correctly. Like from when I was building this mechanical hand, I couldn't just make the hand, if that makes sense. I had to make sure it had a good angle, a good angle, so when the can closes, it was able to grip items to hold. So we had to make sure the angles were right for each finger and it was closing properly. The next bullet point is coordination and attention to details, which basically means that you had to coordinate measurements and stuff, pay attention to details, because the most little thing can be a big deal. Like say the string of the the mechanical hand. Like when you pull it down, it should be able to close, which is a very big deal. The next one is responsive and precision. We got to be precise of where to put the straws, and I'll demonstrate it in a bit after this. So basically, the straws were like kind of like a bone, like from the other presentation we did, it's like a bone structure to hold the strings in place so that way the handle will have a guide to close. So we had to be very precise with that, and our cutting too. We had to be precise with how we cut our hand to get the right angles so it would be closing properly. Construction, like I said, I will demonstrate it in a bit. It's basically just constructing the hand itself. Minor modifications and personal iteration is basically um we had to make some when building a hand, I had to make some minor adjustments of how long the fingers are, or it doesn't have to be fingers, it could be anything while building a hand. We're obviously gonna have like minor modifications because everything can't go right in just one project. You have to always improve, make modifications, do this, do that, basically like editing your mistakes and everything. And cohesive presentation despite individual deviation is basically like the presentation of the hand whatsoever. And the last one is transformation of theoretical designs into a practical working prototype is basically like saying we're bringing this mechanical into life with the designs and stuff with a prototype. Now I'm gonna be demonstrating the hand. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is the hand with a fully functional. It can close and open. It's important that it goes back to the original position it was. So let's here. I am able to. Okay. I am able to hold the item like this, just a plastic cup, and if I wanted to drop it, I will. I will just lift my fingers just like that, and it drops. And I'll pick it back up. I can see just like the fingers here, like the string that I was talking about. That was really important. And the straw is like a bone structure as a guide, and then just let go if I want to drop it like that. So I think that's it for the my part of the presentation.
Hello, my name is Ali Hirschman in Engineering 1201, and following our implementation, we reviewed that our finalized design would be an elastic return hand model, which is basically just highlighting the the, the part and functionalities where the hand returns to its normal position after it's like applying tension, and then it returns back to its normal state afterwards, like the tension is released and everything, and then it goes back to its normal state. That's the part we really we designed our hand model on and heavily emphasized, excuse me. And through that obviously comes with lots of attention to detail, so we had to narrow down to the very small aspects and small things that really mattered with like down to the small parts and everything like that. And with elasticity, you need responsiveness and precision. So we needed to establish the tension and returning to its original position. We needed to establish this functionality that was a key aspect in our hand model. And the overall construction of the prototype with $100 of budget, we were able to construct an elastic return model that was successfully able to return and conduct tension-based functions and performances, and moderate modifications to personal iterations through which each of our personal viewpoints, we established the different sort of additions and changes that we would make to each prototype and version of the hand model. And so we would narrow down which would be best, which would correlate most with one another. And most importantly, the cohesive presentation despite individual deviations coming from our naturally separated nature in this class. We're all like we all have to work with one another through the computer, through the screen, through text, where emotions are um less detectable. You can't necessarily, it's more of logic and facts based, which is a good plus. Though you can't necessarily weigh in all the pathos and the emotional like strength behind it. And a passion could be like passion from say somebody who has a personal view for a project. And the overall transformation of theoretical designs into a practical working prototype was done through the whole team's collaboration. We all needed to get together, discuss, narrow down the choices, what works, what does not work, what is actually going to get us to our goal, what functionality is going to be the most efficient to perform and will produce the most results, etc. And on to our conclusions. Concluding our project, we successfully integrated human anatomy principles with the mechanical designs through the nature of the elastic return of like the human hand. The hand cannot naturally be held in a fist and it naturally returns to like a flat hand, like for example, which is what we really emphasized. Once again, we emphasized it and really went with that principle in our project. And the achievement of all of our objectives helped us go down day to day. We had tasks that we had to complete and certain step by step um, duties and tasks that helped build our project. And we had to, like I said, narrow down to the small things and build up and up until we reached the full portion of the project. We had to each focus on parts, and it eventually led up to a finished product. And through this, we definitely overcame lots of challenges through whether it be through the communication, whether it be through the products, through the restraints and the materials given. We had to adapt to the environment that was given. We had to adapt to the situation, the predicament, like actual engineers do in the field. And we we really had lots of lessons learned actually through how these how engineers, hopefully like us soon, how they communicate, how they correlate with one another, how they weigh in on each other, and the critique that they can give especially. And future perspectives, I'm very looking forward to working in like in a very new field with other people who may be or may not be as experienced as me, which is one thing especially that you have to expect in engineering fields and group projects such as this. But otherwise, thank you very much.